You ever watch a dog at a park, not doing anything special, just running, nose to the ground, then nose to the wind, then chasing something only it can see? No plan, no second guessing, just fully there, doing the next thing, then the next thing, then the next. You watch that dog and something in you goes quiet for a second. Something in you says, I remember what that felt like, because you do. You were like that once, before the noise started. So let's talk about that noise. Let's talk about the mind that won't stop spinning, the one that replays a conversation from 3 days ago and rehearses one that hasn't happened yet, the one that lies next to you at 2 a.m, whispering every version of what could go wrong, the one that turns a simple decision, what to say, what to eat, whether to send that message, into something that feels like diffusing a bomb. Overthinking. You already know the word. You've probably told yourself to stop doing it 100 times. And the advice you've heard is always some version of, just let it go, or don't think so much, or stay in the moment. Right, as if you hadn't thought of that. The problem with telling an overthinker to stop overthinking is like telling someone caught in a whirlpool to just swim normally. It's not wrong exactly, it just completely misses what's actually happening. So instead of telling you to stop, I want to show you what's really going on. Because once you see the machine clearly, something shifts. You don't have to fight it so hard, it starts to slow on its own. There's an old Taoist idea, Zhuangzi, one of the great Chinese philosophers, wrote about it a couple thousand years ago. He talked about a cook who could carve an ox with a single knife for 19 years, and the blade never dulled. People watched him work and said it looked like a dance. The cook said his secret was simple. He stopped forcing. He found the spaces between the joints and let the knife move through them. No resistance, no extra effort. In plain words, he wasn't fighting the thing in front of him. He was moving with it. Your mind is not the enemy. That's the first thing. Your mind is not the problem. The problem is that you've gotten tangled in one particular gear of the mind, the planning gear, the analyzing gear, and it's stuck in the on position. It's like a ceiling fan someone bumped to the highest speed. The fan isn't broken, the setting is just wrong. So the question isn't how do I stop my mind? The question is how did this one gear get stuck and how do I gently shift it back? Let me show you what I mean. Think about walking. Right now, if you stood up and walked across the room, you wouldn't think about it. Left foot, right foot, balance, weight transfer. Your body handles all of that below the surface. It's effortless. But do you remember learning to walk? Probably not. But if you've ever watched a toddler do it, you know it was anything but effortless. It was all concentration. Every step was a decision. What changed? The skill moved from the thinking mind to somewhere deeper. You stopped needing to analyze every step because the knowledge settled into your body. Now here's the thing about overthinking. It happens when something that should have settled, a feeling, a decision, a fear, keeps getting pulled back up to the surface for analysis, over and over, like digging up a seed every morning to check if it's growing yet. You already know the answer usually. Somewhere underneath all that spinning, there's a quiet knowing, but you don't trust it, so you think about it one more time, and one more time, and once more just to be sure. The ancient Indian text, the Bhagavad Gita, has a line that says the mind can be the soul's best friend or its worst enemy, which basically means the same tool that helps you solve problems and create beautiful things is the same tool that can trap you in circles if you don't understand how it works.
And here's where it gets interesting. The overthinker isn't thinking too much because they're stupid or weak. Usually it's the opposite. Overthinkers are often sensitive, intelligent, caring people. The mind spins because it cares. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to get everything right so you don't get hurt, so you don't hurt anyone else, so you don't make a mistake you can't take back. See the kindness in it? Somewhere behind all that anxiety, there's a part of you that just doesn't want things to go wrong. The problem is that protective instinct doesn't know when to stop. It's like a smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast. The alarm is doing its job. It's just doing it at the wrong time, for the wrong reason, at the wrong volume. So what do you actually do? Not a 5-step plan, not a technique you'll forget by Thursday, something you can understand once and carry with you. First, and this is the most important thing I'll say, you have to stop treating your thoughts as facts. A thought shows up that says, they're mad at you, and you react as if someone just handed you a certified letter confirming it. Your body tenses, your stomach drops. You start building a case, reviewing evidence, preparing a defense, all because of a sentence your mind generated, a sentence that has exactly the same authority as a random pop-up ad on a website. You wouldn't click every pop-up ad, right? You'd glance at it and go, that's not real, that's just noise. Thoughts are the same. Most of them are pop-ups. They feel urgent, they look important, but they're just your mind doing what minds do, producing content, endlessly, without your permission. There's a Buddhist teaching that describes the mind as a monkey swinging from branch to branch, restless, jumping from thought to thought to thought. The monks didn't say, kill the monkey. They didn't say, cage the monkey. They said, watch the monkey, which means you don't have to follow every thought your mind throws at you. You can just notice it. Oh, there's that thought again, the one about the meeting, the one about whether I said the wrong thing. Okay, there it is. Not pushing it away, not engaging it, just seeing it clearly and letting it pass through like a cloud passing across an open sky. This is not some mystical state. This is something you've already done. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something, cooking a meal, playing a sport, having a good conversation, building something with your hands. During that time, your mind wasn't spinning, not because you forced it to stop, but because your attention was fully occupied by something real, something right in front of you. That's the natural state. That's the default. Overthinking is what happens when your attention has nothing solid to land on, so it starts chasing its own tail. This is why Zhuangzi's cook is such a good image for this. The cook wasn't trying to be calm. He wasn't practicing mindfulness techniques while he worked. He was just so fully in the task, so connected to what was actually happening under his hands, that there was no room for the extra noise. The knife found the spaces because the cook wasn't getting in his own way. Now, I want to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that watching your thoughts will make everything quiet overnight. It won't. Overthinking isn't something you defeat once. It's something you get better at recognizing. And every time you recognize it, it loses a little bit of its grip. Not all at once, a little at a time. Like a knot that loosens with patient fingers instead of yanking. There's a second piece though, and it's more practical. A lot of overthinking comes from the gap between where you are and where you think you're supposed to be. You're lying in bed, but your mind is at tomorrow's meeting. You're eating dinner, but your mind is in last week's argument. The body is here, the mind is somewhere else entirely. And that gap, that distance between now and not now, is where all the spinning lives. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who ran an entire empire and still had to talk himself out of his own anxious spirals, wrote something like, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same tools you have now." In plain words, he was saying, you can't solve tomorrow's problems today. You can only prepare. And past a certain point, preparation becomes just another word for worry. So here's the practical thing. When you notice the spinning start, ask yourself one question, just one. What is actually in front of me right now? Not what might happen, not what already happened. What is real and solid and here in this moment? The dish in the sink, the email waiting, the person across from you, the breath moving in and out of your chest. When you come back to what's actually here, the mind doesn't have to spin because there's something to land on. You give the monkey a branch to sit on instead of 100 branches to swing between. And remember, this isn't about becoming someone who never thinks deeply. Deep thinking is beautiful. The ability to analyze, to reflect, to consider different angles, that's a gift. The problem isn't thinking. The problem is compulsive thinking. The thinking that doesn't know it's thinking. The kind that runs all night like a washing machine with nothing in it. Same cycle, same noise. No clean clothes to show for it. The difference between deep thinking and overthinking is this. Deep thinking moves somewhere. It has a direction. It reaches something. Overthinking is circular. It covers the same ground over and over and mistakes the movement for progress. You know the difference. You can feel it. Deep thinking feels like walking through a forest. You're exploring, discovering, finding something new around the corner. Overthinking feels like pacing in a small room. Same four walls, same carpet, same view. When you catch yourself pacing, you don't need to escape the room. You just need to stop walking for a second. Stand still, notice the walls, notice your feet, and the door, which was never locked, becomes visible again. There's one more thing I want to leave you with. Forgive yourself for the overthinking you've already done. Seriously, all those hours spent spinning, all those nights lost to worry, all those moments you missed because you were trapped in your head, they weren't wasted. They were your mind trying to keep you safe the only way it knew how. It was doing its best with what it had. Now you know a little more. Now you can see the pattern a little more clearly, and that's enough. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to see the next step. The dog at the park isn't smarter than you. It just hasn't learned to doubt itself yet. You've learned that skill too well. But the beautiful thing about skills is that they can be unlearned. Slowly, gently, one caught thought at a time. Next time the spinning starts, and it will, because that's what minds do, try this. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just notice it the way you'd notice rain starting outside a window. Oh, There it is again. And then bring your attention to whatever is real and solid and close. Your hands, your breath, the ground under your feet. That's it. That's the whole thing. Not a battle, not a breakthrough, just a quiet turning of attention from the storm in your head to the room you're actually sitting in. And you might have to do it 50 times in one afternoon. That's fine. That's not failure.